Good evening, everyone. Gordon Causey, as always, minus Candy the Wonder Pup. She's in a skittish mood the past few nights, and she doesn't want to come and get her habitual treat. I got one, but she just had a bowl of food, so I'm not going to chase after her. Thank you for watching, and you know the drill. Thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed to my channel. I'm up over 600 now. Unbelievable, miserable, pathetic channel. No production value, just my dining table, picture of Toronto in the background, an old picture of Toronto. I'm going to be sharing some Newfie jokes tonight. Got to get my Newfoundland accent going. These are just jokes I've heard over the years. I know a lot of Newfie jokes, but anyway, so I'll get right into it. If you're not Canadian, Newfoundland is on the East Coast. Up until I think the year was 1949, it was its own commonwealth. It was not, and was a very underdeveloped part of Canada. And it was, again, until 1949, it wasn't even a province of Canada. It joined Confederation. I believe the year was 1949, and they didn't have a national roads, or they didn't have a provincial road network. A lot of the communities in Newfoundland were cut off, and the only way you could access the towns could visit with each other is by water. And the educational system was poor. They survived by fishing and hunting. I took a trip, I guess it was probably either 2000, I think it was around 2018, give or take a year, 2017 or 18, and went down to Newfoundland. And I believe Newfoundland has the highest per capita population of moose in the world, certainly in Canada. But moose are not indigenous. They're not native to Newfoundland. They were introduced as a source of meat for people to hunt and to feed themselves. And Newfoundland is famous for its moose burgers. And I should have had one when I was down there, but I didn't. But at any rate, so the first Newfie joke, 2 minutes in. So there's Newf there, you know, he every night he's coming home late. And his wife's getting upset with him because every night he's coming home late. So finally she says to him, listen, I'm sick of you coming home late every night. I knows exactly what you're doing. You're going to that stripper bar and you're looking at the dancers. And he goes, I'm not doing it that often. She goes, oh, yeah. I got a friend. She works there waiting table. She says you're in there almost every night. And I knows why. It's because you like to look at those girls with the big double D's, and all I got are these little A cups. And so you're spending all kinds of money getting the girls to dance for you with their big double D's. But I'm going to fix that problem, she says. I'm going to fix that. I talks to our doctor, and he says I can he calls them implants, and I'm going to get some double D implants, and then you won't have to go spending any money and spending all your time down at that stripper bar. And the husband says, well, that's going to be pretty damn expensive. How much is it going to cost to get them double Ds? She said, well, I talked to him, and it's going to be $10,000. It's $5,000 for each one, $10,000 for the pair. The husband says, well, we can do it cheaper than that. She said, how are we going to do it cheaper than that? And he goes, hey, I'll show you. You just give me half an hour and I'll show you. And he leaves the house and he comes back about half an hour later with a little plastic grocery bag, and he throws it to her, and she looks inside. And inside is a little 2-pack of toilet paper. She goes, what, you want me to stuff my bra? He goes, no, I don't want you to stuff your bra. You just take that toilet paper and you wad it up, and then you rub it between your titties. And she looks, she goes, how in the heck is rubbing toilet paper between my titties going to make them bigger? Who says, well, I don't know, but sure as hell worked on that ass of yours. He's still in hospital. Let's see, another Newfie joke. Like I say, I know so many. Newf is working on a construction site, and they're building a high-rise apartment building or an office building, doesn't matter. Building this great big building. And there's an elevator shaft, an open elevator shaft, you know, down through the center of the building. And the cable holding the elevator car breaks, and the elevator car comes screaming down just as Newf is walking by it, and it slices off his ear. Well, all the workers go down to the base floor of the construction site, and they're all looking around on the ground, seeing if they can find Newfie, or maybe they can sew it back on. And when one of them comes screaming up and he goes, Noof, Noof, I found your ear. I found your ear. And Noof says, hey, come here. Let me see. Let me see. Takes the ear, looks at it, and he goes, no, that's not mine. He goes, what do you mean? It's got to be yours. There aren't ears lying around the ground. How do you know that one's not yours? Noof goes, no, that one can't be mine. Mine had a pencil in behind it. I mean, there are all kinds of Newfie jokes. Anyone wants to comment? I got 2 people watching. How's my Newfie accent? Let's see. Newf, he's got 12 kids, and his wife, she says, I can't do this anymore. We got 12 kids, and I don't want to have any more. And husband say, well, I don't know what we can do about it. I mean, kids just come. She goes, no. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine. She told me about this thing called a vasectomy. Husband, well, what's a vasectomy? She goes, well, I don't know what a vasectomy is. But my girlfriend, she tells me that if you goes to the doctor and gets yourself a vasectomy there, then we don't have no more children. So doctor, the Newfie, he says, all right, well, I'll go talk to the doctor, see what he says. So he heads off to the family doctor, and he goes, my wife and me, we've got 12 kids, and my wife, she doesn't want to have any more. And she said there's something called a vasectomy that I can get, and we won't have no more kids. Is that true? And the doctor says, well, yes, it's a fairly simple procedure. It's day surgery. And are you from Newfoundland? Hi, bye. He says, I'm from Newfoundland. I was, oh, well, in that case, it's really easy. You just stand up, you take a soup can in one hand and a firecracker in another. You light the firecracker, put it in the soup can, count to 10. That's a vasectomy. So he goes home. Noof tells his wife about the soup can, the firecracker, and she goes, well, that doesn't sound right to me. I want you to go and get a second opinion. So he goes, all right, I'll go get a second opinion. He goes to a walk-in clinic, and he sees a doctor there, and he says to the doctor, I want a vasectomy, tells him the whole other story. And the doctor starts saying, well, it's a very simple procedure, day surgery. Wait a minute, are you from Newfoundland? Again, yeah, I was from Newfoundland, Biden. And he goes, well, then it's really easy. You just got an empty soup can, a firecracker, light the firecracker, put it in the soup can, count to 10. There's your vasectomy. So Noof goes home, tells his wife. She goes, well, if 2 doctors say that's the way it's done, that's the way it's got to be done. Let's get to her. So Noof gets himself a soup can, empty soup can, holds it in one hand. He holds the firecracker in another hand, and he says, all right, honey, lights the firecracker. She lights the firecracker. He puts it in the soup can, and he goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ba-doom, she. And I'll end it off with one last one about Newfie, who came down to Toronto. And he was downtown Toronto, and he saw a sign that said suits $10. And he was thinking, Lord, Tonder and buy $10 a suit? Oh, in St. John's, if you want to gets a suit, it's going to be at least $100, maybe $200. So he gets on the phone and he calls his cousin, and he says, George, you got to get down here. I found a store downtown Toronto selling me a suit for $10. I got a great plan. You bring a truck. And bring 1,000, bring as much money as you can get, and we'll buy like 100 of these suits, and then we'll take them back to Newfoundland. Oh, we'll make a killing. We'll sell them in St. John's for $100, $150 each, and they only cost us 10. So his cousin George comes down with a truck and about $1,000, and he walks into the store. But before going in, he says, now listen, these guys try and take advantage of us Newfies. If they know we're from Newfoundland, we won't get the deal. So when we goes into the store, let me do the talk, and I can talk like a Torontonian a bit. So they walk into the store, and Noof cleans up his accent. He goes, I'd like to buy 10 of those suits there, please. And the guy behind the counter says, you're from Newfoundland, aren't you? And he goes, how'd you know, boy? I was talking like a good Torontonian. How'd you know I was Newfoundland? How'd you know I'm a Newfie? The guy behind the counter said, well, because this is a dry cleaners. Anyway, those are the jokes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the 2 thumbs up. Again, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel if you like, miserable and pathetic as it is. I don't only tell jokes, I also comment on current news and events, and I'm going to be doing a live podcast type, just me rambling tomorrow, Wednesday, in and around, probably around between 10 and 10:30. Johnny Appleseed writes, how to mark a good fishing spot, put an X on the bottom of the boat. There's another Newfie joke, and joke about Newfie who goes ice fishing, and he's just starting to cut the hole in the ice when all of a sudden a booming voice from above says, there are no fish here. So Newfie's like, oh, we're thundering, the Lord above is talking to me, great. And he moves about 15, 20 feet away, picks out another spot, starts getting going with his drill on the ice there. And again, the loud booming voice says, there are no fish here. So he moves about 10, 15 feet further away, and again, there are no fish here. And this happens several times. Finally, he's starting to do it again. And again, finally, the voice says, there are no fish here. Now, would you please vacate the arena? Public skating is about to begin. Anyway, the video that I'm going to, thanks Johnny Appleseed for that one. He says, thanks, a better fishing joke. There are tons of jokes. There's one about the Newfie who's out rowing his boat, and he's singing, I buys builds a boat, no buys sails, sir, I buys catches the fish and brings them home to Lizer. All of a sudden, a UFO approaches, and it's looking down at the Newfie rowing in his boat, and there are 2 aliens aboard, 2 extraterrestrials, and they have a ray gun. It's a ray gun that will kill off a certain degree of an individual's brain matter. So they set the gun. They said, well, let's see what happens if we take this earthling, and if we remove a third of his brain. Let's see how he operates with just 2/3 of his brain remaining. So they fire it, direct hit on the Newfie, and he just continues on. I buys builds a boat, no buys a sails, sir, and buys Lord Thunder, and I can't remember any more of the song, he says. So the aliens say, well, let's take away another third. Let's leave him with only a third of his brain matter left. So they aim the gun again, and the Newfie just continues on with 1/3 of his brain singing, I buys builds a boat, no buys a sails, sir, and Lord Thunder, can't remember the rest of the song. So the aliens say, hey, let's try it. Let's remove that final 1/3. Let's leave that earthling with no brain matter whatsoever and see what happens. Gens de pays, c'est à ton tour de vous laisser parler l'amour. Gonna make French Canadians angry, or at least the separatists, but I don't mean any harm. Jokes are just in fun. How do you get a one-arm? How do you get a one-arm Newfie off a flagpole? Wave. How did the Newfie break his leg raking leaves? He fell out of the tree. Tons of these around, and it's interesting. If you go to the United States, they would refer to these as Pollock jokes. If you're in India, they tell Sadaji jokes. If you're in Russia, they have Chukcha jokes, which refer to the people of the north, the Chukcha. And I'm convinced pretty much every society on the face of the planet Earth, every country, every culture has these type of jokes, and they repeat. Anyway, the next one I'm going to do on jokes will be Russian jokes, because it's one of my favorite accents to do is Russian accent. And so next time, if you want to hear Russian jokes, listen to, check my channel. You can subscribe. You can give what is called a thumb up, I think, and you can do like that. But Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about free speech and about this new legislation that was just introduced in the House of Commons, as I understand it, Monday. It's no longer a rumor. It's being widely reported. And this is freaky. Telling jokes like this might, at some point, if this legislation passes, might be considered hate speech. And the loss of the ability to tell jokes would be depressing, but more significant would be the loss of the ability to criticize the government or to express ideas and thoughts and views which do not. We're getting into an age of Orwellian mind control, of Orwellian thought control, of having the thought police determine that which we're allowed to say. Hazaro Turu. You like Russian accent? Is my favorite accent. At one time when I was in army, I went around all day talking with a Russian accent and said, my name is Kazyanenkov. But you can just call me Kaz, just to make life easy, because it's difficult for Canadian to pronounce. I think I do a decent Russian accent. I think I do a number of different accents pretty darn well. I used to do theater. And if I ever do another play again, I'd like to do Mousetrap, which has a character named Parvicini, an Italian. And I like the Italian accent too. If you like to watch my Italian jokes, that was the last one I did. And I like the Italian accent. But anyway, thank you for watching. Johnny Appleseed, thank you for chiming in. Thank you for my now 5 thumbs up. Shorter is better on these videos. So I'm going to cut it now. Appreciate you watching. And if you're near a device tomorrow, 10:30 or so, between 10 and 10:30, I'll set it up before then, so you'll get notified. And I would love to have some interaction on it, because I think this new legislation, online harms, CBC just had an article out. I was just reading over it again. Long-awaited online's harm bill proposes higher sentences for spreading hate online. Who determines what hate is? If you don't like my opinions, my views, are you going to accuse me of being hateful? No, 10:30 in the evening, Johnny Appleseed. Those are just the times that work best for me, 10 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Toronto, Montreal, New York, Florida, Eastern Seaboard of Canada and the US. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, Johnny Appleseed. We'll talk to you later. Good night.